There's this peculiar thing about dreams. The way we speak about them is as if all you need to do is have a dream and problem solved. All you need to do is dream of something. Have a dream that you want to come to fruition, and your problem is solved. But a dream doesn't just simply offer you a future. A dream is something that confronts you every single day. And every single day that it confronts you, it's demanding something from you. And what it's demanding is, it's saying, here's who you could become. Now, what are you willing to do? And what are you willing to sacrifice in order to make this happen? And that's the part where a lot of people falter. Because secretly, deep down, you can tell when a person thinks that the transformation is optional. What do I mean by transformation? Just look at the phrase, here's who you could become. The word become in that sentence is asking something from you. The word become it's almost like a spotlight that's pointing at you, and it's showing you that there is a gap. And this gap is between your current state and the dream that you want to achieve. It's forcing you to acknowledge that you are not that person yet. You have not yet become the person that is ready to withstand the dream, the magnitude of the dream that it is that you have. So in order to get that dream, you must sacrifice something. You must become something. It is an action that you have to take every single day. You have to shed who you used to be. You have to shed the skin of your armor of who you used to be, and morph and change into this new being if you want to become the person who will be able to withstand your dream. Think of it like therapy. Before you begin therapy, there is this level of acknowledgement that you must have of the fact that there is a problem that needs work and that needs help. That's why you're seeking a therapist. And it's the same thing with your dream. Become is that acknowledgement. It's forcing you to acknowledge that you are not yet that person that can withstand your dream. So you must sacrifice. And what does that sacrifice look like? Back in the day, the sacrifice might have been, in order to perform some type of ritual, you need to sacrifice some type of animal. I don't know. You go out into the wild, kill an animal and bring it back and use the blood and the skin, whatever it is. It's a sacrifice. It's just a different type of sacrifice. But this sacrifice that the dream is demanding from you is, you have to sacrifice your time. You have to sacrifice your energy, relationships. You got to sacrifice short-term gains, and you have to shift your focus. You have to practice. You have to implement new things into your everyday life. So you have to become a whole different person. You have to shed that previous sin, because we cannot keep the same habits and the same illusions that we currently have if we want to become this person to be able to withstand this magnitude of a dream. But that just forces you to ask yourself, how bad do you really want this dream? How bad do you really want it? But there's a lot of risk when you are on this journey. There's a lot of hidden things that people don't usually shine their light on. These things are usually kept off of social media. These things are not really spoken about. The limelight, they would call it, these things are not shown in the limelight. They only show the good side of what that dream looks like. And they don't show the sacrifices that were made. They just show the destination. Quote, I say this because there's never really an end. It's always a continuous thing. But they only show that destination when the person is further along on their journey. So here are the risks the hidden risk of pursuing that dream. Here's the risk of becoming and taking the necessary steps of becoming. These are the things that can happen that people don't talk about. So there's this book called The Psychology of Money. And inside The Psychology of Money, there's a lot of talk around luck and risk and how these two play an enormous role in who you become, how you become successful, the rate and the speed of which you become successful, if you even become successful. And they use the story of two stockbrokers to illustrate this exact topic. So there's this one stockbroker, and his name was Jesse Livermore. And he was an amazing stockbroker back in the 1800s, around 1870, 1880s. But he was a famous stockbroker. And Jesse was around during, they had a market crash around this time. And it was one of the largest market crashes so far in US history. So a lot of stockbrokers at the time, sadly, they were committing suicide because of the stocks dropping and all the firms were in long positions and everybody was losing millions and millions of dollars. So it was a big thing on the news. And as the day went on, Jesse went home because his day was over. Jesse went home. And as he walks through the door, his wife and his kids greeted him at the door. And they were all crying and they were hysterical. And, oh, Dad, you're home. And the wife is like, honey, I missed you, all this stuff. And they embraced him. And he was so confused as to why they were acting like this. But then it dawned on him that this day was one of the worst days in US history for stockbrokers because the stock market crashed. However, Jesse was one of the outliers. I believe that's the right term, but he was one of the few that were not affected from this stock market crash. He was actually in short positions. So he was able to make billions. He made, I believe, $3 billion in that day from the stock market. Now, amazing story. Beautiful. We all wish that could be us, but it can't. Because on the other hand, there was this other stockbroker, and his name was Abraham Gerinsky. Abraham Gerinsky was another large stockbroker at the time, but the story did not pan out the same for Jermaine. Jermaine went about his day. As he gets to work, he opens his setup and he notices that he's in longs while the market is dropping. So Jermaine was losing millions of dollars as the seconds and the clock ticked. So sadly enough, he was one of the ones that committed suicide. And this is just a illustration of how one of the risks that come with following your passion. We have two stockbrokers that were clearly following their passions of becoming stockbrokers. But the reality is there's so many things that can happen on your journey that can hinder your growth. In their example, the stock market crashed. We cannot predict the stock market crashing. As you can see, it affects people differently. Some people might be able to benefit from it, some might not. One of the hidden risks of following your journey, you have to understand that there will be some luck and some risk involved on your journey. So you have to be able to be aware of that. And don't just expect things to always go your way because they won't. And that's one of the biggest things that entrepreneurship will teach you is that you must be able to take a hit and another 3 hits. But the biggest thing is being able to get back up from those hits. So how much risk are you really willing to take on? So many people go the opposite route of entrepreneurship because it's less risky and it's easier to depict where you'll be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It's a good and bad thing. In my opinion, I don't believe that's the route that a person should go. But if you choose the other route, just understand that no risk, no reward. Pretty much that's where that saying came from. You have to take a risk if you want to benefit from some reward. So there is going to be risk involved on this journey. There will be some luck. Just take a hit and Be able to get back up. That's the most important thing. People are going to talk bad about what you're doing because, like I was saying, you have people. The majority are not going to go the entrepreneurship route. The majority are going to go the less risky route, get a job that pays a certain amount just so they can be secure, financially secure. And no one will agree with what you're doing because you're going the risky route. There was this time I was overhearing a FaceTime call, family FaceTime call in my house. It was my mother, sister, and my other two brothers. I wasn't on the call. I forgot what I was doing at the time, but I wasn't on the call, but I overheard it. Anyways, I hear the call, and it started going regular FaceTime. Hey, how you doing, everybody? Blah, blah, blah. And then as the conversation went on, I hear them talking about me. And why were they talking about me? I don't know. So now I'm listening now. What is going on? Lo and behold, the conversation goes along the lines of, what is he doing? Still not working, et cetera, et cetera. And entrepreneurs know when you hear this, people are fearing, he's not working, she's not working. They're wasting their life. This is what they see. This is their perspective because that's just their reality. They don't see what we see. They don't know what we know. But anyways, I had to jump on a FaceTime call so I can stand my ground and let them know that everything's okay. There's no need to worry about what I'm doing. Trust and believe that I'm on the path. And my path definitely looks a whole lot different than yours. And that's okay. That's okay. With that being said, understand that people will not always see your perspective. That is another huge risk of following your path, following your journey, following that dream. You're gonna have a lot of people that don't understand what it is you're doing. You're gonna have a lot of people speaking bad, a lot of people turning their backs on you. But you have to be strong in your mind. You have to practice personal development. And the reason you have to practice that is because of this. You're gonna have so much opposition against you. You're gonna have so many things that are going against you, so many people that are betting against you. And they're not even doing it because of the fact they dislike you or they want you to fail. It's because they just don't understand what it is you're doing. Their perspective is obscured because they're not reading books like this. They're not reading books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So they're just not even aware of this alternate reality that we entrepreneurs live in. So it's important that you build your mental fortitude. It's important that you stand your ground and believe in what you are doing. Believe in what you are doing wholeheartedly. You can't falter. You can't question what you're doing. You have to have a clear goal and you have to believe with your heart that you can achieve it because you can. Look at all these other successful people. Do you think they didn't think they could achieve it? No, they knew they could achieve it. That's why they did it. And you have to be the same exact way. But really and truly, if you think about it, there's risk all over. There's risk on either path you take. If you go the entrepreneurship route, if you want to start your own business, or even if you don't take the risky route and you rather go the 9-to-5 route and be comfortable and secure. And the risk of that, you risk missing out on all the adventure in life. That's a huge one. You're going to live a mundane life. Just understand that you'll be settling in life. As if you were settling for someone in a relationship, you'll be settling for that life by going the less risky route. So the adventure is wiped out of it. You may be able to take a trip or two a year. That might be a stretch. You might get one a year. So you have to understand that's a huge risk. Another risk could be time. A lot of the dreams you have to let go. So when you get to the later ends of your life, you have these moments where you're like, oh man, what if I did that? How different my life would have been. And honestly, that's a huge risk. A lot of people don't want to have that feeling. But there's also risk on the entrepreneurship route. And the risks look like time. You lose a lot of time. There's a lot of money going to be lost. What if it doesn't work out? That's a huge risk. That is a humongous risk that people don't even consider. What if it doesn't work out? But again, that's also mindset. What if it doesn't work out? It should always work out in your head. Your end result shouldn't be a what if it doesn't work out, because law of attraction is going to kick in and it will never happen for you. So there's is interesting ways to play around with this, but honestly, there's risk all over. You just have to look at the end result for yourself. What exactly are you willing to sacrifice? And if this outcome happens versus if it doesn't happen, will I be happy with these cards at the end of the table? Or will I be happy with the way life turned out if it happened? And if it didn't happen, so let's take it back for a second. If you go to entrepreneur route, you have to look at the end of that journey. If it didn't happen versus if it didn't happen on this path, will you be happy with the way life looks if it did happen versus if it didn't happen? Entrepreneurship route. Now, the other side would be if you went the less risky route, which is 9 to 5, the typical lifestyle that everyone else goes. Will you be happy if it does work out, and what does that look like, versus if it doesn't work out and what that looks like? Will you be happy? Choose your poison, because there's risk all over. But honestly, I'm going to always go the entrepreneurship route. I think regardless of if it works out or not, I'll just find another dream or another business venture or something else to start, because it's going to always work out in my favor. It will always work out in my favor. And you have to also understand, the person you're going to become on this journey is the type of person you need to become to start majority of these other businesses anyways. So you're already becoming that person. You'll be so much closer at your next business, or the business after that, or the business after that. You'll be an even better shape for that position. So the way you can look at it is that it will never not work as long as you continue, because you'll find something that works. And all you need is one. Venture capital is an amazing depiction of this. They bet on so many businesses, 50, 100, hundreds of businesses. They spend millions of dollars, and they're not even expecting a return on all their investment from each business. They're betting that one or two of these will be that diamond in the rough that will generate all the revenue back for that they spent all these 50, hundreds of other businesses. So, yeah. In conclusion, there's a lot of risk for following your dreams and following your passions that a lot of people don't talk about. I just want to shine a little bit of light on them. I'll let you know that you can do it. 100% can do it. But just go into it understanding the risk of going into it. Because like I said, a lot of people don't talk about it. They just show the highlight reels on Instagram of them driving ATVs on a Monday and hitting a private jet on a Tuesday. And before you get there, you got to keep your head down. You got to take a lot of hits. And like I said, take a bunch of hits and learn how to get back up and keep going. Because these are the risks. These are the hidden risks of following your journey, following your dream, following your destination.